Rancher found Apache girl with a sign, "White man don't forgive," shocking end. The sun was just dragging itself over the jagged Arizona ridges when Caleb Hargrove, a quiet, weather-worn rancher, saddled up his horse, Dusty, and took the north trail to check the fences. It was supposed to be an ordinary morning, one of those silent hours when the desert held its breath before the heat rolled in. But that day, silence became something else, something tense. As he approached a cluster of cottonwoods near Dry Creek, he heard a sound that didn't belong there, a faint whimper. Caleb pulled the reins. "Easy, Dusty." The whimper came again, soft but desperate. Caleb dismounted, hand hovering near the revolver at his hip, not to threaten, but because people in trouble often meant danger nearby. He pushed through the brush and froze. A young Apache girl, maybe 14, was tied to a low tree limb, feet on the ground but arms stretched uncomfortably above her. A crude wooden sign hung around her neck, scraping her chest as she shifted. "White man don't forgive." She wasn't harmed, but she was frightened, exhausted, and barely holding herself upright. Caleb hurried forward, voice low but firm. "You're all right, I've got you." The girl flinched at his approach, understandable, given the message someone had hung on her. He carefully untied her wrists. She stumbled, but he caught her gently. "You hurt?" he asked. She shook her head, but fear filled her dark eyes. "My name is Naya," she whispered. Caleb gave her canteen. "Drink slow." She obeyed, hands trembling. He studied the sign again. Rough handwriting, carved with a dull knife. This wasn't an Apache message. This was something else, something meant to stir trouble. Caleb sighed. "This here looks like someone wanted to start a fight." Naya's lips tightened. "They want war." Caleb knew exactly what she meant. For months, tension between settlers and nearby Apache bands had been building like storm clouds. Cattle thefts, destroyed water barrels, late-night gunshots, each side blamed the other. But Caleb also knew many of the incidents were faked by men who wanted land, power, or revenge. He helped Naya onto Dusty. "Your family nearby?" he asked. She nodded weakly. "Our camp is by Black Mesa." "That's a long ride. You stay here first." Orchid Creek Ranch isn't fancy, but no one bothers folks there. Naya hesitated, still wary. "Why help me?" Caleb shrugged. "Saw a kid in trouble. That's enough." Her shoulders relaxed slightly. They rode back to Caleb's ranch, a lonely spread of wooden fences, a barn, a windmill creaking in the morning breeze. His old ranch hand, Martha Briggs, stepped out, wiping her hands on a flour-dusted apron. Martha's eyes widened. "Caleb Hargrove, what on earth?" "Found her tied up near Dry Creek," he explained. "Looks like someone wanted it to seem like my kind did it." Martha frowned at the sign. Someone's stirring poison. By evening, Naya had rested and regained some strength. Caleb saddled 2 horses. "You sure about going home?" he asked gently. Naya nodded. "They need to know what happened." Martha handed her a warm shawl. "Take this, sweetheart." The ride to Black Mesa took hours, the desert sky turning a deep indigo sprinkled with cold stars. When Caleb and Naya approached the Apache encampment, several warriors emerged from the shadows, bows drawn. Naya sat straighter. "These men helped me." The warriors lowered their weapons but didn't relax. One of them stepped forward, tall, sharp-eyed, with a hard expression. "My name is Chief Dasan," he said. Caleb dismounted respectfully. "I'm glad she's safe. Someone tried to use her to frame my people." Dasan held the carved sign, jaw tightening. "This message is made to provoke blood." "That's what I figured." Dasan studied Caleb with unreadable eyes. "Why risk bringing her back yourself?" Caleb answered simply, "Because it was right." For a long moment, the only sound was the wind sweeping over the mesa. Finally, Dasan spoke. "There is more you should know." Inside a council tent lit by low firelight, Naya explained what she remembered. "I was gathering roots near the creek," she said. "A cloth was pressed over my face. When I woke up, I was tied like that." "Did you see anyone?" Caleb asked. "A white man," she whispered. "He had a scar on his cheek." He said, "This will get them riled up." Caleb's stomach dropped. A scar on the cheek. He knew exactly who that was. Silas Boone, a former settler, kicked off land near the reservation boundary for rustling cattle. A man who hated both the Apache and the ranchers who refused to join his schemes. Dasan seemed to read the recognition in Caleb's eyes. "You know this man." Caleb nodded. "And he's dangerous." Dasan leaned forward. "Then we must stop him before he lights a fire across the territory." At dawn, Caleb, Naya, Dasan, and 3 Apache scouts set out. Naya insisted on coming. "I saw him," she said. "I can point the way." Caleb tried to discourage her, but Dasan surprised him. "She is brave, and she wants justice without war. I will not deny her." They followed tracks, boot prints, horse prints, scraps of torn cloth, until the trail led into Vulture Canyon, a narrow pass where shadows clung like old memories. Naya pointed to a ridge. He went up there. The group climbed carefully. Suddenly, a gunshot cracked across the rocks. Everyone ducked. Caleb hissed, "He's trying to scare us off." Dasan replied, steady and calm, "Let him try." Another shot rang out, chips of rock flying from a boulder near Caleb's head. But this time, an Apache scout spotted the movement, a figure crouched near a ledge. Dasan signaled silently. 2 scouts circled wide, staying low, flanking the shooter. Caleb and Dasan moved forward together. Silas Boone rose from behind the rocks, rifle aimed at Caleb. "Well, look who brought company," Silas sneered. "Didn't think you'd be stupid enough to ride with Apaches." Caleb stepped forward steadily. "You used a child to start a war. That's coward talk." Silas spat. "War's coming anyway. Might as well speed it up." He shifted his aim, toward Naya. Before he could fire, one of the scouts disarmed him in a swift move, knocking the rifle away. Silas stumbled and was pinned by the other scout. Caleb approached, fury burning in his chest, but controlled. "Your game's end today, Silas." Silas snarled, but the fight had drained out of him. Silas Boone was brought to Fort Stanton, where the marshal listened to the full account, Naya's testimony, Caleb's statement, and the Apache scout's report. When confronted, Silas confessed everything. He wanted settlers and Apaches to turn on each other. He thought chaos would let him reclaim land and steal more cattle. He believed no one would care about one native girl. He was wrong. The marshal ordered him held for trial, and word spread fast across the territory, not about hatred or vengeance, but about how a rancher and an Apache band worked together to stop a man trying to ignite war. Days later, Caleb visited the Apache camp again. Naya greeted him with a smile, tired but genuine. "My mother wants to thank you," she said. Her mother approached with a small, beaded charm. "This is for protection," she told Caleb. "You showed honor." Caleb accepted it with respect. "Your daughter's the brave one." Naya shook her head. "We both were." Chief Dasan extended his hand. "You have proven a friend," he said. "Not just to us, but to peace." Caleb shook his hand, firmly. "If trouble comes again," Dasan continued, "we face it together." Caleb nodded. "I'd like that. Epilogue. The shocking end. The shocking end wasn't the capture of Silas Boone. It wasn't the way his plan fell apart. The real shock, the one people told stories about for years, was this. A rancher and an Apache band, in a time of anger and suspicion, chose cooperation instead of war. Naya grew into a respected voice for peace between communities. Caleb became known not just as a rancher, but as a man who took risks to protect a child who wasn't his own. And the territory, once on the edge of violence, slowly found a path toward understanding. All because one morning, a rancher heard a whimper in the cottonwoods and chose compassion over fear.